Welcome to Just Roll It Already. I'm your host, Daryl.
I'm your other host, Jeremiah.
And with us again is Mike.
Hey, folks.
Today we're going to be talking a major topic. Next, we're also going to be talking into our next segment called Game Talk. This is larger topics that will possibly take a lot longer than usual and takes a little bit more in-depth look at. So today, Mike, what are we going to be talking about?
We're going to be discussing player etiquette.
Okay. So player etiquette. Now, this is going to be divided into two different categories, in-game and out-of-game. Right now we're going to tackle in-game, and Jeremiah, why don't you start us off with that?
I think some of the better parts of in-game to go over would be, cheaters. People who cheat. The dice rollers who roll the dice when the dice are already down on the table and they just roll it with their hand. Just flip it to another side. That one that you just rolled becomes a 20. Those kind of cheaters.
Yeah.
Or simply just block view of the dice while they're doing so.
Yeah, it's a critical point to ever put into any game, especially when you also have to track down on your players if you do find them cheating. Proper ways to deal with those people in a more reasonable, respectful manner. You don't just generally be like, well, you messed up, get out of my game, leave, or,
Maybe taking some time and stepping aside with them.
Yeah.
Not in front of everybody.
Well, then, there's also, you're talking about the number fudgers and the rules, the people who try to bend the rules to their advantage. And the reason that we label this under etiquette is mainly because this is going to be ruining the fun of the game, and it doesn't make people feel like they're enjoying it. Then it becomes a competition to see who can win the most. I mean, we all like winning, but we need to also remember this is about fun.
Also, you ruin a part of the game, which is like the randomness a bit of it. It's not always in the probability. You will lose sometimes. I mean, you got to add that with even sometimes you lose.
Yeah, but sometimes you do lose. And that's another thing when you take a look at in-game. If you lose or fail, don't get mad and suddenly start yelling at everybody because you didn't get the killing blow on the bad guy or suddenly succeeded in hacking in the computer, because these people are here to have fun. And when you're sitting there throwing a tantrum, a full-grown adult or a prospecting adult, you're kind of making everyone feel uncomfortable around you, and it's not good etiquette acting that way.
You're taking your issue that was in-game and making it out-of-game, which makes other people feel very much uncomfortable.
And covering cheating, or people who, and that kind of supplements into people who steal the spotlight.
Oh, the spotlight whores.
Yeah, you throw the die, all right, I got a crit. As a matter of fact, I got several crits. In fact, every crit has also been confirmed that I critted, and I critted that I critted.
You just crit all over yourself.
I crit everywhere, and I crit so much that I will now be the supplementing figure that does everything. I destroyed the monster because I critted so much. Therefore, look at my crits. I took the biggest crit.
I'm speechless after that because that's a lot of crit going on there.
And now they feel that they are the Superman of the party and the main character, which in any sort of RPG, it shouldn't be about look what I can do. It should be about look what we can do.
Yeah, this is a group effort game, and you just be respectful about it. That's the biggest overall thing about etiquette, is mainly respecting other players. Let them take the head on something. Let them do their thing. If you're good at everything and you're kind of showing everyone up, you're not only did the whole bad etiquette thing, you just did everything possibly wrong we just talked about. And then there are also people who, well, even though when they're playing the game, interruptions or even talkovers. Those things are very annoying because when you're sitting there trying to act out in a session and one of your friends start talking about the new game that they recently bought or something, it just stops the flow of the game, and it just is very awkward and rude overall.
Much like in say a game like D&D where you have an alignment of good and evil, you say there's in-game and out-of-game etiquette, but there's also the diametric paragon of DM and player, the etiquette style from a DM or a player's perspective. Well, GM, actually, if you want to be more broadened,
Well, that's a pretty complex thing right there alone, so we might have to save that for a future episode.
Well, I was saying, the etiquette between, how a DM has to have etiquette compared to how a player has etiquette. A DM interacts with a player cross-talking.
Yeah.
Things of that nature might be things of our budding players and DMs alike could take into consideration when they're in their games.
Since we're talking about in-game, you'd mentioned alignment. One of the things I look into is respecting alignment. Like when you create a character that's lawful good, sticking to the principles of that character, and not just because the situation might call for someone else to be chaotic good that you just instantly become it.
Yeah.
That also can fall into the category of spotlight stealing.
True. But then again, be respectable about a character in general too, because if somebody says, "Oh, if you're going to be if you're going to be mean to another player and attack his character, that's passive aggressive crap, because they're trying to have fun, and if you're going to sit there and make fun of them because their character doesn't eat meat or whatever they choose, leave them alone about it and just kind of roll with it. Just don't beat them up."
Yeah, you don't need bullying. I could see some people power trips. Really, people have power trips, and they're like, well, that's another form of disrespecting somebody, because at the end of the day, if someone's having a power trip, there's generally somebody at the other end of that power trip that's being put down. You really don't want to put down your other players by in game. Well, my guy has 20 strength, therefore he can just push your character around, and there's nothing you can do about it. It's like, well, you gotta take into consideration that character you're pushing around is another person, technically. If we're going off PCs and not NPCs, that's...
Also, respecting people's own creative flow, not pushing, if someone's coming up with a character, don't necessarily push them towards something that you might want to see in the campaign because it might work with your character.
Right, I'm a chaotic evil character, so I'm going to make it so we take over the world, but then you have some sort of good guy, like a paladin of sorts, who's like, well, I'm against that. And then you force that on somebody. You shouldn't have that kind of influence to force something on another player. That should fall under, being respectful to other players. Like, they have their story, you have your story. You shouldn't force your story on somebody else.
Yeah. So that probably will bring us into the next part, is out of game. Now, this one's possibly a little bit more complex than an in-game, because this is generally a gentleman's agreement when you're in-game. It's like saying, "Oh, don't talk over, don't interrupt, don't
cheat,
so on." But we're going to talk more in the lines of problems with outside of the game. For example, leaving your garbage all over the place, talking too loudly, or overall environmental disrespect.
Environmental hazards of your social interactions with each other. Hygiene is a big one. Like when you're saying cleanliness, cleaning up after yourself. Most people that play RPGs, I'd say on a broad basis, are of an age to understand the concept of cleaning to some degree, I assume.
Mm-hmm.
I started RPing when I was a little kid, but even then I knew that trash goes into a refuse bin and not the floor or the couch. That's...
The host of a game can put together a lot of effort to make sure that the place that you're gaming is very clean, and that's just common sense. Respect their home.
Yeah, that's like a way for a DM to be in kind to its players, is to make sure that the environment's clean. So by that effect, the players themselves should also, in that kind of coin, should make it clean themselves. That's...
You should leave the environment the way that you found it.
Exactly.
Yeah. Only you can stop forest fires.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You see a seal, you leave it unclubbed. Yes. Like that, yes.
Yeah, that's something. Yeah, I've found when I host games at times, I do find garbage or somebody who was not exactly the cleanest kind of person. They sit down and they don't wipe up themselves, or they have bad odor or something. And it's very distracting, because I've been in places that cause a lot of problems because they are not respectful of the overall environment of the gaming area. Because if you live in an apartment, you got to be respectful and careful about other people near you, because you share walls, and those walls can leak lots of noise, and that can cause disputes and
undesirable substances. We do have some incarnations of butter trolls in our neck of the woods when it comes to gamers.
I think that's anywhere in any part of the hobby.
Well, yeah, but those players in general who have taken it to the point where they're almost excreting butter,
but they're just a problem unto itself. Take a shower, clean yourself up before you go to a game, because you're going to another person's house. You may be used to that smell, but they're not. There have been times that I had to empty an entire bottle of Febreze every 2 weeks because some of the people did not clean themselves, okay? There are some horror stories that I can tell on the mics that would make you cry, but I will not speak them right now because it will be way off
I would
topic.
curdle your blood.
We'll save that for a horror story episode or something.
Kind of back with the respecting the neighbors,
Yeah.
keeping your volume down. Also, with the locations where you're gaming, you might run into a place where, it's actually a family environment, and you might want to watch your language.
Oh, yes.
That's a good one, actually.
Yeah, if you have kids in your house and they're sitting there, you're hearing swear words of all colors and flavors, you're gonna rub off into those kids. Let alone, some people are not very comfortable with it.
Yeah, I mean, some people just, they just don't like cursing. But, like you're saying with the volume, I mean, yeah, no one wants the chops called because someone overheard someone saying, like, and I chop her in half. Well, yeah, if you yell that loud enough and people aren't aware of the context of the conversation, they might think you're cutting somebody in half and might call the cops.
Yep. And when the cops arrive, for whatever reason, whether through a misunderstanding or a noise complaint, it doesn't make you feel comfortable. Gaming is for fun, not for drama or problems.
And it makes you look bad. I mean,
Yes, it does.
Nothing makes you look more like, yeah.
Yeah, and I don't want to spend my Saturday night picking up garbage after everyone's gone and Febrezing the place, followed by a chemical cleaning crew the next morning.
Something else I wanted to touch on is this is towards gamers, but out of game also, which is control. People who issue control over other people.
Power trips, like we were talking about earlier.
Complete and utter domination of even a full role play group. I've seen this.
And it comes into, like, social interaction, how we deal with each other. I mean, yeah.
It can actually be psychologically damaging.
Yes, it can. You gotta let go of the power. You gotta let go of the. This has got me tongue tied just thinking about it, because this is just we all of us have had experience in the past about this.
Actually, inside, we're probably all three of us are thinking about a certain individual.
Yes,
at this point.
We will not name just yet. We will call him "He Who Shall Not Be Gamed."
Yes, because but in particular, a player of this nature, we'll say, how do you deal with somebody like that? Like, what measures do you take when you find somebody who's almost psychologically destroying your party? You just cut them? What if you've been friends with them for decades?
That kind of part is this. I think I'll give the short answer to this one, because this one again could be an episode unto itself of dealing with that kind of person.
Bloody hell, it could. Yes.
Okay, but personally, just first talk to them, which is kind of a cop-out, which everyone says. But second of all, if they keep on doing it and they are a sociopathic nightmare like this guy we're talking about, you just walk away. You don't need to give yourself problems or headaches or even drama that is unneeded, because this person is so damaged and so nuts, you don't want to deal with them.
Your hand has gangrene. You sacrifice it so the rest of the body can survive.
I mean, you will inevitably experience barbs from this person, but
yes.
pay them no attention, because the attention is what these kind of people look for.
Yes.
That's true, yeah. And that would refer back to in-game, the attention grabbers, the spotlight takers. Those are generally the people you need to look for. The people that are like the spotlight takers, those are going to probably be the sort of domineering the players that try to dominate,
It'll be one of those times where we actually can bridge between the in-game, out-of-game in terms of etiquette for the same person.
Yeah, that's true, and also respect is another tying commonality. So, how would you guys go about dealing with this? Like, fixing this situation, like stopping all these things going on? Because telling somebody to take a bath is easier to say when they're not around, but going up to them and kindly as possible.
Give them a sponge bath, yeah.
I do not want to touch some of those people, okay?
Just strip them and give them a sponge bath.
I like to sleep at night, sir. Thank you very much.
Like you're saying, don't do it when there's like an audience. Don't make a spectacle of them.
The sponge bath, or no?
The suggesting that somebody might.
Oh, right, yeah. You don't want to just ostracize them, and be like, just like out of anywhere, be like, hey, clean yourself. Here, you're making them like feel bad. No, yeah. You want to, take them aside or something. Or you could. I was actually thinking about making like laminate little cards, and every time I start a session or a campaign, I would hand them out to players and be like a to-do list. Like a little mark it, like a dry erase mark. Like
your top 10
clean yourself,
list.
feed yourself, all that kind of stuff. Like, what have I done today?
Well, I think that's a bit much, because it's easier just to kind of say, hey, player A, can you come over for a second? There's something I want to talk to you about. And don't do it in front of everyone else. Kind of do it on a break or something and say, look, you are kind of wrecking this for everyone else. Can you tone it back a bit? Kind of look at what you're doing. Because I know you're having fun. I don't want you to stop having fun. I think it's great. But please, can you let player B and C have a little action too, and don't just charge right in there. Don't stop completely, but just tone it down a tad. That's one way to do it. Or telling somebody that, hey, I know that you're a good friend of mine, and I love how you play these games and running these games, and you make these very funny characters, but can you clean up yourself a little bit, or kind of be more considerate about it, because it's kind of making us all uncomfortable, and I don't want to make you feel like your feelings are being hurt here.
Yeah. And see, now that's actually, you just brought up something very interesting. You said that you're my friend, so you mentioned, like, there's social interactions you have with people that are your friends, and people who aren't your friends. Sometimes you might jam with people that you don't know.
Or let alone don't like.
Exactly. So social interactions can change drastically. So respect can go quite differently and sparingly.
Yes, certainly roleplay groups can change.
Yes, they can. Especially if you're with a particular individual that is he who shall not be gamed. Or incredibly dramatic backstory guy.
Such inside stories that you'll be informed upon in later episodes are, dearie listeners, yes.
Yes, don't worry. We will talk about our nightmarish stories here and there, and some of them will be very closely linked.
It's funny as they can all be put into iconic little archetypes. We can formally discuss at a later date about how players you will run into and players you want and players you don't want. But that's a topic for another time.
Yes. But keep in mind, this is inevitable that you're going to have some conflicts in a group. Always expect somebody sitting there saying, like, oh gosh, so-and-so is such a spotlight whore, or man, this guy needs to take a bath, or why is there garbage everywhere? Who drank the last Mountain Dew? Or who left the door open? Or who left out their cigarette butt or beer?
Who stepped on the cat?
Yeah.
Things of that nature, yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, that would be maybe, it is going on to like a PSA at this point. We're going on a little bit of a sort of lecture. How about you regale us with maybe some horror stories, in fact, to give the audience a good image of things you might have to deal with on a gamer basis.
Now, I will give one horror story, only one. Now, we had a particular player in my group a long time ago. He still is around here and there. I see him sometimes, and we're not going to name him because it's kind of, if you're going to give him a name or a pseudonym, don't even bother. We're just going to call him the player. So this player, he was playing in this group and this game that lasts about 9 months. He made an interesting character. He had some funny things going on with him, but he had a couple problems. 1, he didn't clean himself on a regular basis. 2, he was really loud. 3, he was a spotlight whore. 4, he was stunk. And every single night, every single time we got done playing, he stepped outside. Instantly, I grab the Febreze, I grab a garbage can in that small little corner he was, and I would pull out a large amount of garbage. Sure, I'd be cleaning one day and I'd miss something, but when you suddenly find a 2-liter bottle or 3 of empty soda, you kind of get a little peeved about that because it's kind of common knowledge. There's a recycling bin. It just got worse and worse, and these kind of people got really bad. And one time, he left a little nasty present on my couch. It was a brown little stain, and it smelled really bad. You can put it together yourself of what it was.
That probably is. I mean, I don't think any of us could pull out a more horrifying story than possibly someone using your couch as a bathroom could possibly be.
It certainly wasn't chocolate.
No,
no, it was not chocolate.
No one's gonna taste test that at all.
No, and after that, I took this guy out and I said, "Look, clean yourself, or don't come back."
I wouldn't even. If someone did that, I would not. I would probably not even have them come back. To be honest, like if someone did that, it's like we're done, dude. Like, we're done.
Well, I was trying to be a little bit nicer here about this whole thing.
Yeah.
I don't like to cause conflict, so now he's not even allowed in my house because I got my house where I want it.
Yeah, you have nice things, and you would like to keep them nice.
Yes, and relatively bacterial-free, and no hazmat suits required.
Well, what about you, Mike? Do you have any horror stories that would be of gamer etiquette?
Do I have any horror stories?
Yeah,
Certainly.
Gaming etiquette specific.
Oh, once again, we're not naming anyone.
Yes.
So I will refer to this as this person as Player X.
Oh, ominous.
Player X unabashedly had a fetish for feet.
This is disturbing already.
It is.
And during the course of an entire D&D session, this individual kept moving around a couch closer and closer to somebody else
Oh, dear.
who happened to not be wearing feet.
Not wearing
What,
feet?
not wearing feet?
Not wearing shoes or socks.
That was a-
Excuse me.
Okay,
that is a
that
great
kinda-
Freudian slip.
I was about to say, that's kind of a weird imagery what's
The
happening.
person took the feet.
Look, the story
but
is so
they're-
disturbing. I don't even like recollecting it.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, go.
You know what? I think I'm going to stop it there. I think we all know where it's
I think
going.
we know, yeah.
Yeah, it kind of gets creepy thinking about the whole playing footsie on a couch in the middle of a game session.
It ends in being asked to leave.
Okay.
Yeah. See, and that, it's a perfect example of, like, people, and it is also, it falls under so many categories we covered tonight about hygiene for one.
Yeah.
That could be
yeah.
hygienic. PG for one. But, what if there's, granted, a kid might not understand the context, but at the same time, if you're, basically having intercourse with someone's feet on a couch, and there's kids around, there's an issue. I remember, when I started gaming, I was 8, and I played with people that were, in their 20s. That stuff didn't go past my head. If there was little cheeky things they were having around the table, I was fully well aware of what was happening. So that's another thing that people might need to tone down on. When you need to be PG at sometimes. No, I actually have a good horror story. It does not compare a candle to you people. You have truly trumped anything I could probably toast out of when it comes to stories. However, I do know of a player. I don't have any pseudonyms like Player X of some deviants. We can call him Smoke. I don't know, because this player would smoke 2 packs per session.
Like right on the couch during the session, or just stop the game and walk
The-
out?
No. This is right as he would light up right there when the
Oh, gosh.
when the session's going, right when the DM's going about. And the thing is, maybe it wouldn't be that big of a deal if we're in a room that was 40 foot by 40 foot, some giant massive room with ventilation. But we're in a 8 foot by 10 foot little closet. This is over at the college. There's a gaming room. You're not really supposed to smoke on campus or anything, but
I think I know what you're talking about.
yeah, but he didn't care though, and really we didn't really care either. We're late at night at the college, we're the only ones there. But at the same time, I don't smoke. I know most of the players there didn't smoke. There's a couple other smokers, but I'm pretty sure they would want their own cigarettes. They don't want to have the just the thrown away bits out of his mouth as smoking, And he would go through 2 packs. He's spending $10 every session on cigarettes. I was expecting at any point, the old Three Stooge skits where their mouth is filled with cigarettes and they have them all lit up. I just see a smoke demon across the table, really.
So pretty much this hot-boxed room, this tiny room that you
Cancer.
game.
Hot boxer.
Yeah, hot-box with cancer.
I can't make any sort of fortitude or will save to negate the cancer. No, it's done with. All our lungs are basically destroyed and destitute at that point. I feel now I feel inadequate actually compared to your bloody stories. That's
So
just,
how did you guys deal with the smoker?
eventually we had to just kick him out. We just told him because he was a man obsessed. He could not stop smoking. He's like, dude, if I smoke 10 more packs, I get more points with these cellophane codes on them, and I can get a hat. It's a hat
okay.
won't replace your lungs. So we can't help you with that, dude. You gotta if you want to smoke 2 packs, you gotta do it in between, at the break. He's like, I can't smoke that fast. Well, that sounds like a personal problem, because it's a majority vote here, and 9 out of the 10 of us vote that you need to bloody stop, and he won it. So, and that's like I was saying before. Sometimes you just gotta kick people to the curb, because really,
Yeah, because
some people are lost causes.
yes, they are lost causes.
I actually have something to add to this particular topic that's also very important.
Do tell.
Not necessarily, well, I'm not going to go into the horror story, but we've been talking about respect quite a bit.
Yep.
How about respect for other gamers' relationships?
That's a little bit of a dodgy thing
Well,
because
I think what he's saying is like, if you're playing a game right, everybody has family.
yeah,
I know I have a family because I was born, that I know of. I'm not, masterfully incepted. I did have a mother and a father, and at some point, the DM might have to respect that I might need to spend time with my family. Like, sometimes some people think it's always about gaming. Like, that's,
okay. I think Mike has a different kind of relationship.
Or
So you're talking about like a guy flirting with your girlfriend kind of thing, or
that could
just showing up to the game to make moves on another friend's girlfriend.
that
that is a whole
I
thing
think that
itself. Yeah.
that's a pretty nasty one, and that one stops right there because that gets way too dramatic.
Believe me, I know.
Yes. Well, you have the witnesses. I never saw that before.
Not witnessed, experienced.
Okay, thank you for sharing that.
Well, it's quite critically important to etiquette. Believe me.
Oh, it's very important because if somebody started hitting on my wife, I would probably end up beating them half to death and then throw them down the stairs and watch them die the rest of the way.
I'd watch. I'd watch that.
Yeah.
On a more lighter but not as light topic, entitlements.
Oh, people who feel like entitled to your time.
Because you have role played before in other campaigns with other game groups, don't just show up to someone's house in a new campaign, a new game group, and expect because you already have that experience with the other game groups that you should be entitled to extra, privileges based off of that.
Yeah.
That's actually a good one. Like, just because someone's been like my friend for like 10 years and they've been in my campaigns, I'd be like, well, my friend Tony so-and-so is joining, so I'm going to give him these extra magical gubbins. I'm giving him fancy boots that make him go faster and blah, blah. And all my other players are like, WTF, why does he have magic fancy boots that let him move faster? It's like, well, because I've known him for 12 years, and you haven't been on the family plan of 12-year track to get the fancy boots. You gotta be a subscriber for a while to get the fancy boots.
Yeah. Well, I think this is possibly a good ending topic part. The whole entitlement issue does get annoying. And I've seen players who saying, because I've been gaming for X years, or this guy's my friend. It's just a jerk thing to do, and just don't do it, okay? You play the game, everyone should be treated equally, and if there's any favoritism, let it happen in character. Well, actually, not at all.
Not at all, yeah.
Yeah, my bad.
I was going to say, the veteran thing is pretty, like the friend thing, I didn't see, I didn't see that's kind of hard, because, like, sometimes, I might be a bit more lenient towards a friend, and I'm like, oh man, I've known this guy for, like, 20 years. Like, I'm going to be like, yeah.
You may not be new to the game, but you are new to the group.
Yeah.
And if you can start from scratch from your previous group, you can do the same for your new group.
Exactly.
Yeah. And it's... Don't go into a group expecting the red carpet. Just go into a group expecting to play a game and have fun and learn to build a relation with these people, because whenever you're new in a group, it kind of feels awkward and you just don't know what you can say or can't say, what you can do and what you can't do. Okay? Sometimes buy that pizza for the group to say, hey, I'm the new guy here. I thought about
Peace offering.
A peace offering here.
Break the bread.
Or saying, you know what, I'm going to give this this fancy gadget here to this guy instead of taking it for myself because I think you could use it more than me. Kind of promote player friendliness as well as character friendliness, because you're trying to have fun and try to make some friends in the group. And if not, if you're in a group that nobody likes you and you're just gaming every single week, walk away, because if there's a bunch of game groups that are that guy, just leave.
I actually probably do have a good story about entitlement people. I may have met the oldest baby known to man. He was this player, I think, may have been in his late 40s, early 50s. He's like, well, I've been RPing for like 30 years, so like, I totally deserve these things. Like, it's not like, there's no veteran status. Like, he's like, I was there, man. Like, I seen some things and did some things, so like, I deserve the +1 hatchet. Like, what? Why?
Like he was fully vested in D&D.
Yeah, like it's yeah. It's just funny, like how you meet people like that who like, I've spent this many years, so that's what I deserve. Like, it's sort of a job, like 25-year anniversary.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think this will probably do it for about player etiquette. If there's any questions you guys want to ask us or topics you want to talk about, please leave them in the comments below or send them to our Gmail at justrollitalready@gmail.com. Thank you.